Okay, everybody, so in this tutorial, we're just going to learn a little bit about MyQuery from Google, be able to use those data sets and make a simple map. So if you go to the course website, you can follow these directions, make sure you're in sandbox mode, make sure you've created an account using your Goshen.edu credentials, and sort of taking a look at the public data. So public data means that it doesn't cost anything for you to use, and there's a lot of good stuff in there. So the first task we're going to have here is being able to plot some data just on Google My Maps, just something really basic. And so to be able to do that, we need something with a lat and longe. So I was just kind of looking through the data sets, and New York motor vehicle collisions. There's no real reason why I selected this. You can select some other data set with a lat and longe. So this is looking at the basics of the data here. We can look at an overview of the data, and we can view the data set. So what it's doing right now is it's opening up a console. And so what it's done is it's opened up a console, and it's already, so here's our big query public data pinned over here to the side, and it's already sort of put us into the New York data set here. So this is, we're already, you could scroll down here. You could scroll down here, and you could find the New York collisions data here. So this is the New York motor vehicle collisions. So we got it from going through, going through the marketplace, but you can also do it right here in your console. So let's see here. So if we take a look at the data set, I'm just going to close this one out. That's from the marketplace. So if we take a look at our data set, it gives us a few things initially. So we can see all the different field names, the types of data, string, whether it's a string, date time, which is the timestamp, float, integer, right? And then we can click on the details. That'll tell us, looks like it's being actively updated because it was last modified today. And so we can see sort of the oldest and newest data, or at least when it was created. And you've got the ID right here, which you can use in your coding. And then you can even press preview, and you're able to see just a little bit of the data, right? So you're able to see just a little bit of the data, all the different fields. And I did check ahead of time. This does have a lat and longe, and so this makes it easy to bring it into Google Maps. So that being said, and just to be aware, I'm already in my lat longe project. So for you folks who, are sort of learning how to create a project and making sure, so this is I just called this my lat longe project. And so I'm in here, I'm in the the big New York data set. Okay, so what you can do is, okay, you're in the data set and you can say, hey, I want to query this data set. I want to take a subset of these data. So you just press the query, and then you've got it preloaded in here. So select from BigQuery, public data, New York. So it's asking us, we're asking BigQuery to just select, and we haven't given it any components yet, something from this larger data set, and don't give us more than 1,000. Now, I've been working so I've been working on this already. And so I have a snippet of code. I have a snippet of code that I've already written. And I also have a saved query. So this is a query that I ran from before. So I can click on that. Okay, so I've got this saved query. That's what I was doing before. So I'm just going to highlight all of this. Or I'll just open it in my query editor here. So I've got two different query editors, right? This is what it gave me when I said run a query. This is just the generic starting point, and this is what I've built. So let me walk you through this. It says select, and I want to select the latitude and longitude fields. And I want to know and I want to also select the number of motorists injured. And then I also said take the timestamp field. So that's 4 fields altogether. We don't technically need the timestamp, but I wanted to grab it just to make sure that my query was working correctly. And so our first line here is saying, take these fields, okay, those are the fields we want, take them from this data set. And so notice that this here, this is just the name of the data set that's hosted in the BigQuery database. And so that's exactly what it gave us at the beginning. So it already gave us this. And then I'm going to put some conditions on here. So I'm going to filter these results. And so I only want things that, or I only want injuries that happen between 7 in the morning and 9 in the morning. And I just put an arbitrary date that's way before the earliest injury in the data set, and then I put a date into the future. So I know that I'm catching everything, but I only want stuff during morning rush hour between 7 and 9. And then number of motorists injured, 12. That's a little high. So I want everything that we had at least 7 injuries. All the incidents where we had at least 7 injuries. So now I can run this code. Okay, so we've got results here. And so you can see here 501 results. So, we didn't get, there's a bunch more data, but because we asked for such severe accidents, we got a large amount. We got a small amount of data. Okay. And so what we're going to do here is, and you can actually see, I got some panes in the way here, but you can actually visualize our results here as well. So what we're going to do is we're going to save the results. Okay. And we're going to put a CSV straight into Google Drive. And you can collect as much as 1 gig of data, and I know, after we ran the query here, it's only 52 megabytes. And so I know that we're good. And this way, we can keep it in the cloud the entire time, so I don't have to download anything on my machine. We found it in the cloud. We're going to take it to Google Drive, and then we're going to dump it over into Google Maps. So we'll go ahead and save this in Google Drive. So this is my Goshen.edu Google Drive. You do want to check and make sure that it's your Goshen account up here in the corner. And then I can go to my map. Okay, I'm going to add a layer. So this is a new map. We'll call it New York Motor Vehicle Collisions. Okay. And we are going to import our CSV from Google Drive. So we select Google Drive. I just select recent because it's the most recent thing that's been uploaded to my Google Drive. I've got a bunch of old copies because I was messing around with it. So here are my results. So I'm telling it that if for the location data, you want to look in the latitude and longitude. And then the name of the place marks, I'm saying number of motorists injured. Okay, so now we're going to be able to plot those data. And again, didn't have to download anything onto my machine. Okay, and just a couple things to notice is it's telling me that it had problems with 63 rows. So if I open the data, you can see the lat and long are missing. I mean, that's just a data quality issue. So we don't know what those lat and longes were, which is fine. We're not going to worry about that. But we've got our lat and longes, and we can confirm that our timestamps okay. So now we're going to style this map. So I'm going to go in here and we're going to style by the number of motorists injured. And we're going to use ranges so we can bin. I think 4 categories will work just fine. So you see we've got different categories, 8 to 12, 13 to 17, 18 to 22, folks injured, and 24 to 43. So as you can see, this is a little bit messy. It's pretty hard to visualize in Google Earth. We can also bring this into Carto, which we've got a lot more visualization options once we get into Carto. But here you go. This is a way to make a Google map with your data without ever having to download anything on your machine. So we'll learn more about using Carto in this process in the next tutorial.